Starting next door. Shh. Okay, thanks, mate. Oh, yeah. Gary. Okay. Good morning, everyone. We're about to judge the 2018 AIPP Nature category for WA, kindly sponsored by Olympus. The category nature images may include photomicroscopy, macro photography, astrophotography. Entries must be of nature, which include wildlife and wilderness, both on land and underwater. Entries into this category may be commissioned or self-commissioned. Photographs must be a single capture image with no retouching that materially affects the authenticity of the image. Entrants have provided a description, explanation of the photographs to assist in assessing the content of the print. It is up to the entrant to ensure there is no attempt to misrepresent reality by manipulating the image's content, context, or meaning through image editing or post-production. Where was I? Post-production is limited to minor adjustments such as spotting, dust and scratches, dodging and burning, adjusting tonal or colour values. Elements or areas within the image cannot be removed or covered up, nor new elements added. Cropping the image is permitted. HDR, stitch panoramas and focus stacking using multiple exposures taken at the same location at the same time are permitted, provided these techniques are fully disclosed within the caption information and comply with the category principles for authenticity. This is not a category for domestic animals, zoo animals, farm animals, captive wild animals or cultivated plants. Images containing man-made objects or depicting the interaction of wildlife with humans must also be entered into another category. Any handling of the subject must be disclosed in the caption. Entrants must not do anything to injure or distress any animals or destroy their habitat in attempting to secure an image. Entrants are responsible for ensuring full compliance with any applicable national or international legislation and for securing and relevant permits that may be required. Any questions on that? Des?
Self-commissioned, commission and mixed in?
Yes.
They're not separated?
It's open, yeah. So, just before we start, welcome to our live streaming. What we're doing, guys, is just briefly introducing yourself, and we'll just go along the panel. Just a brief description, name, rank and serial number, thank you.
So, starting with me, my name is Des Burt, and these days I lecture at the North Metropolitan TAFE and loving every minute of it.
It's really fast. My name's Nathan Madigan. I am a wedding and portrait photographer, love storytelling, doing a lot of magazine designing around story, master photographer, loving every minute of that.
I'm Diane D-Ray. I've been a wedding and portrait photographer for a long time. Shot my first wedding in the year 2000. Happy to be here.
My name's John Woodhouse. I've been a wildlife photographer most of my life, and these days I am more into art photography and love it. Thank you.
My name's Gary Saar. I'm a portrait, a domestic and commercial photographer.
You. Just a quick advertorial. let's have a look. If you want to buy, for the audience, if you need to buy or like to buy coffee, the students are selling it just by the front door. So feel free to pop out there in between prints. So having said all of that, we will start the nature category. Could I have the first print, please? This has a description. Lightning, active seasonal tropical thunderstorms bring large amounts of rain in intense bursts to the Kimberley, sometimes closing main arterial highways for short periods, cutting off access to all the local towns. At unanimous, I have 5 78s in front of me, which means the average must be 78. Can I have a comment, please, from Nathan? Yep.
Look, this is... sorry, I'll be quick. This is a great shot. I would chop about a third of it off on the right, and that would lend a lot more drama and emotion and the conflict of nature into that space there. At the moment, I'm just falling off into the bright, sunny corner of the image, and that loses some of the power for me.
Thank you. Next print, please. Yes, it's all right. Looking like the surface of Mars, the red Pindan Beach meets the silty white mudflats of Roebuck Bay. The crab holes shown litter the flats, while the mangroves thrive in the environment. Capturing during a 0.9 of a metre tide at sunset, this 1.5 metre mangrove will be fully submerged by the 9 metre high tide. This print is a silver with a distinction at 85. And yeah, all pretty much up there, but I'd like, let's have a look, Nathan, to have a comment, please.
Yeah, I can't comment to improve it. I think it's really spectacular. I gave it 88. The story is strong, and this is one of those images where the caption complements the image, which is really important when an image has a caption. I love that I understand about this tree, and it's standing there, its last kind of hurrah before being flooded, and its little shadow is showing what it could be before it dies. This is a really great story in here, and beautifully presented, and the texture is so textural. Thanks.
There we go. Thank you. Next print, please. If I hesitate to read the caption, it's because I'm just making sure I get the terminology right, guys. Okay. Okay, the Milky Way appears to come out of the Boab tree, connecting the land and the sky. Moonlight gives a glow to the tree, and campfire lights up the tips of the branches and the surrounding bush. Kimberley, Western Australia. Does everyone put their scores in and press send? Okay, we've got a technical problem. Can we just have a blank screen for a moment, thanks? Just remember your scores, just in case we have to start again, guys. Got a little technical issue happening. Thanks. Yeah, just a little freeze, a little brain freeze. Got a little brain freeze. They've all scored, but nothing's coming through. No scores are coming through. Sure.
Seems like you're not connecting there, so it looks like it's probably the iPad just here. Come on. Sorry guys, just be a moment.
Okay, here we go. We're starting to get there.
Yep. Okay, we've got 3 scores in.
John and Gary, just re-enter your scores, please. Frozen? Those two.
So those...
Those two are frozen. Those two iPads. Yep, that one has. Thanks, Sue. Can we just have the print back? Thank you. Okay, this print scores 79. We have a challenge from Des, who scored this 86. Accept Des's challenge. Off you go.
I don't think this is all that easy, and I think it's well captured, and the lighting is very well controlled here. So bear in mind, there's very, very little post-production here. This is in camera, pretty much. So to do this balancing of exposure, in effect, and if this is a very long exposure, the tops of that tree are doing a very fine job of keeping pretty still. So I think that it's a strong technique, and it's a strong technique that's been well executed, and it needs a few points more than just out of silver range.
Thanks, Des. Gary, you're down the other end of the scale. You'd like to make comment, thanks.
Yeah, I appreciated all the subtlety that you said. You talked about, Des, and I love that kind of stuff. It's well balanced. It's not shouting at you. I marked it a little on the low side because it just didn't have that impact. But I could come up a few points for technique, definitely.
Di.
Yeah, look, I'm in silver too, and I'm coming at this from more of a perspective of, excuse me, of a human, and this speaks something to me about just the vastness of the universe, and just how as humans we're really quite unimportant. I just think this is so beautiful, as to remind us of that, and to just think about how we're just such a tiny part of such an amazing galaxy. Yeah, I think there's something really quite beautiful about that. So I'm definitely in silver. So I think the other judges should hop along into silver with Des and I.
Nathan, you wanted to make a comment?
I'll be very quick. I gave it a 78. I thought it was high professional practice. And I guess for the benefit of the author, and this might help our decision, push it into silver. I wouldn't have gone there, but if I was to caption this, then I would have referenced the idea that this tree is burning into the galaxy. This Milky Way actually looks more like smoke, and making a statement about nature going from a timeless old creature kind of burning off into the sky is quite a beautiful kind of existential kind of experience, and that would add a bit more depth to an image for me. Otherwise, I just consider it a professional practice. So caption work, but look, I'm happy to go up a few points. Des?
Well, we've all pretty much had a comment. Does anyone else want to go before we have Rod a reply? If not, I'll give it back to Des.
Yeah, and I actually want to pick up on what Nathan mentioned, and thank you, mate, because this tree, this part of nature with its upward roots, in other words, its leaves are connecting with the universe. So there's some really, as you mentioned, existential messages here. So it's not a gold print. It's not, I think it's with distinction, but it's certainly an award image, I would suggest.
Okay, Des, you hold your score. Everyone else is free to rescore the print. We have a silver award at 82. Next print, please. Oh, good. Thank you. Yes, there is. Sorry, I was distracted. Intense lightning storms are a constant threat to farmers. Lightning strikes on cured, ready-to-harvest paddocks, sparking fires that race along with the wind. The same thunderstorm can also put the fire out in what can only be described as nature's own water bomber. You're having problems? Yeah. If we could just have a blank screen for a moment, please, while we just sort this out. Yeah. Same issue as, again, just in number one over there. Could we have the print back, please? Not yet. Thank you. We have a silver award at 81. Nathan, would you like to make comment, please?
Yeah, to improve it, maybe just crop a little bit of the top off, but otherwise this is beautiful and it immediately has an energy about it. There's you can feel the crash and the dancing. The caption was strong. It helped. I love that poetic description of creating and putting out the fire simultaneously. And I'm seeing the gods kicking their feet up with those two kind of electrical shoots. So solely from story, I'm enjoying the energy. But I'd actually love to hear what John Woodhouse feels about it, because he does this all the time.
No, we've got to move on. Sorry, guys. If we can keep our comments to a chapter, please, that'd be great. Okay. Next print, please. Yep. Okay. Sorry, can we just have a blank screen, please? Now it's my turn to have the problem. Now I've lost it.
Network's playing up. All right.
So I accept that.
Yep. All good.
Could I have the print back, please? Thanks, judges. Score the print. Yep, I'll read that. Yeah, you can get up and have a look, though. No, it's all right. A heavily gravid female dwarf bearded dragon soaks up the last warmth of a disappearing afternoon sun a short distance from the entrance to her burrow. Her burrow, dug in the middle of the great central road, has potentially risky consequences for herself and her offspring when they hatch. We just have a blank screen, thanks. Sorry, folks, we're just having a few technical problems at the moment. So just to remind everyone that the Whopper Cocktail Party is on this Thursday night. That's where all the winners get announced. It starts at 6:30 p.m. at the Perth Town Hall. Tickets are available online. The sprint scores 77. Oh, sorry, could I have the print back, please? Print score 77, but I'd like a comment from, thanks, Di, who scored at 78.
There's some really beautiful texture on this animal, which is really quite gorgeous, but the caption gave us a lot more information that we can't see. So it was talking about the burrow and all that sort of thing. So I feel like maybe this crop is a little too tight and we would have liked to see a little bit more of the surrounding area.
Thank you. Next print, please. And the caption says, from my observation, the Herbert crab, Pagurus species of the Kwandong Point WA, appears to have differing personalities. Some were bold while others were reluctant to come out of their shell. There has been much interest in the study of this conspicuous awareness and constant behavioural differences in hermit crabs. Print scores 77. And can I have a comment from, Des? Thanks.
This is an appealing image. I particularly like the way the highlight travels down the image to kind of follow the shape of the crab in the foreground there. So I suspect this image could have gone into the award range. It's just the technicality of the blowout of the highlights on the shell here. It's just lost the detail in there. So it is a minor technicality, but to be in professional practice, that sort of thing needs to be controlled.
Thanks, Des. Next print, please. Caption says, on a clear Kimberley night in Western Australia, the boab tree sits high on a limestone ridge. It is bathed in moonlight and proudly points the way to the core of the Milky Way. Sorry, Des, have you pressed your button? Thank you. Yeah, we're a bit worried that we're... Okay, print scores 78. Could I have a comment from John, please?
I find the image has it has a pleasant feel to it. The sky is the best part about it. I find the tree is a little bit oversaturated in some areas. The composition's good, and it's good professional practice.
Okay, thank you. Next print, please. Caption: hot human air loaded up with the copious amounts of tropical energy fuel towering thunderstorms that explode and spiral into the upper reaches of the troposphere, each one creating its own formation, nature's own unique signature. Yeah. Can we just have a blank screen for a moment, please? Can we have the print back? Thank you. This print scores 84, Silver Award. Des would like to make comment.
I wish this could have gone a bit higher. I'm just off it, getting out of a challenge. I apologise to the photographer. This has got all the elements of nature. It's got rain, it's got squalls, it's got cloud, it's got wind at the top of the skies, it's got sunshine in the foreground, it's got layering. It's got. If you ever wanted to see nature all in one image, this is kind of it. I think the photographer's been hard done by with the score. I mean, this is my opinion, not everyone's. And so I really like this image. The colour layering. There's a lot of elements in there to like. So well done to the photographer.
Thanks. Can I just have a blank screen? Thanks, just for a moment. Good comments, everyone. But maybe, particularly at this level, estate level, if we could comment on how the photographer might improve things to impress more judges to get it at that score level. It's a scenario where if we can educate more, that would be good. So yeah, just possibly keep that in mind. But and that's not saying what you were saying is wrong, Des. It's just that if we go along those lines, it might be more useful to the photographers. Next print, please. Caption: two sea lion pups frolic in the sand at Seal Bay, Kangaroo Island, South Australia. Captured during a late afternoon in October, where the photographer was able to capture this image, keeping a respectable distance away from these youngsters who are part of a wild sea lion colony. Okay, so we got same issue, have we? Yep. Sorry, blank screen when you're ready. Thank you. Oh, hang on a second. You going? Yep, I've got you, Gary. And I've got John. There we go. Print scores 78. And I'd like a comment, if I may, from, let me see, John, how we could make this better.
It's a great capture of two young wild animals. I think the cropping could have been a bit tighter with that vegetation on the right. Does detract from the image a lot, and maybe look at a few more frames within that. I know these things happen in split seconds within that range of shots, and see if you can find one where maybe you can see an open eye better, and that's a great trick with wildlife photography. And maybe the come down with the background a little bit. It's good to show the sea, but not too much.
Thanks, John. We're just going to have a judge change. Des, if you'd like to have a rest for a second, we'll bring Jacinta in. Thanks, Jacinta. Right. Next print, please. Oh, sorry, guys. I had a judge change and I'm kind of doing that. Won't be a moment. I'll read it to you. Sorry about that. Okay. A young sea lion, pinniped, seeks solitude from the crowded shores of La Jolla Cove, San Diego, to haul. Pinnipeds haul for between 7 to 12 hours a day to socialise, rest, regulate body temperature and avoid predators. Males can often be seen with wounds inflicted from fights during the mating season. Rightio. Prentice Silver Award at 82. Can we have a comment from Gary, please? Oh, sorry, no, John. I'll take a volunteer any day. Yep.
When I first saw this image come up, I thought it's a beautiful composition, warm and cold colours, turmoil of the ocean, something resting beautifully on a precipice. I find what really let it down is the cut off on the left hand side of the seal. Otherwise, I probably would have gone even higher.
Okay, good. Thank you. Next print, please. Caption: the baobab tree's bark catches the glow from distant light source as the full moon rises in the night sky behind it. Kimberley, WA. Print scores a silver award at 82. And if I could have a comment from Di, please. Sorry? Yes, but make them good improving. Okay. Okay, if someone else wants,
Too strong.
please. Okay, caption. A male red-capped robin pauses his hunt for insects and observes the photographer. Gascoyne region, Western Australia. Scientific name, and here we go. Petrosea goodenovi. Petrosea goodenovi. Or novi, possibly. It's a long time since I've done Latin or Greek. Well, the Petrosea goodenovi scored a silver award at 81. Could I have a comment from John, please?
This is a really good capture of a bird. The focal point is the eye. There's a light in the eye, which is a great. That's the trick to bird photography. It's looking at the camera. It's perfectly exposed. I would just to say I gave it a really good score. I gave it a silver distinction. To improve on it, I would maybe crop it a little bit tighter at the top and the bottom, because the lens choice is actually excellent as well. So, well done.
Thank you. Next print, please. Okay, caption. The red Pindan shoreline provides scale of the receding tide. Some of the largest worldwide and found in the ecological rich Roebuck Bay. Nature reveals itself as each dark spot represents a crab, a feeding bird, or newly sprouted mangrove. Closer inspection reveals abundance of each. Abundance of each. Not beach. Print is a silver award at 83. Nathan, could you make a comment? Thanks.
Yeah, I'd love to make a comment. This is a beautiful image, and it could have gone even much higher, much higher. It's so stunning. The palette is beautiful. The story is strong. Even the caption. I love when a caption says "upon closer inspection," and when you inspect what it's saying, it's beautiful. Just the foreground, I think we could probably drop. The colouring is beautiful, but I feel like it's distracting because it's not as sharp as everything else. And just the story from, a third higher up probably would make it an unbreakable image.
Okay, caption. A little wood swallow, the smallest of the Australian wood swallows, takes a brief rest from soaring above the rock faces of Uluru, catching insects. Sprint scores a silver award at 84. I'd like a comment from John, if I may.
This is also a great capture of a bird. Particularly pleasing is the background, is the graduation of tones is absolutely beautiful. I would say that the only way you could improve this is I would crop it slightly from the bottom. The diagonal is beautiful. It's definitely silver award. Well done.
Thank you. Next print, please. Caption. Lightning bolts illuminate the skies as intense towering thunderstorms capture the colours of sunset over the flats of the northern Kimberley. We have a silver award at 84. I'd like Nathan just to make some... Oh, yeah, Di, off you go.
Oh, congratulations to the author. This is really beautiful and very stunning. It's very visually arresting when it first comes up. There is a tiny little highlight, which a few of us tried to wipe away with the glove, which is quite distracting. And the other thing is I might look at the paper choice for this one. I find, because I've used a slight luster paper, the bottom of it is actually reflecting a little bit with the lights, and it's quite difficult to look at. So that might be something to look at maybe if you're going to re-enter this into APA.
Thank you. Next print, please. Caption. The squadron of pelicans are on the hunt as they work in unison to corral bait fish along the shoreline. A lone juvenile white-winged black tern observes the handy technique as it cruises by. The pelican's synchronised movement reveals nature's artistic flair with a beautiful heart-shaped formation. We have a majority gold award at 90. Okay, I think John would like to say something. Yeah, absolutely.
Congratulations to whoever shot this. Is brilliant. The only thing that let it down is there's a little black below that turn to the right. There's some little black spot in there that your eye keeps on dragged down to. I think in this category that might have been able to be taken out.
I think so, yes. I think you can do some basic
brilliant
spotting.
Capture, something that you just don't get every day.
Let me just read something before we, just to make sure that what I've just said is correct. Sorry, Di, did you want to say something? Yeah, go while I read this, you go. Yeah.
Look, I think this is just exquisite, and I'm actually struggling for words, but the thing that I love about it is it's a shot of nature, but it's so beautiful. I mean, this is a piece of art, someone would put this on their wall. And I mean, from back here, I loved it. And when I got up close, I loved it even more. I just think it is so stunning. I don't even mind that little black dot because I was looking, maybe it's a little fish or something, to me, it just added a little bit of an extra element. But gosh, I'm so in love with this photo. And if the author would come and see me later, I'd love a copy of it. I just think it's absolutely stunning. So just really, really well done.
Yep. Okay, 2 points. Firstly, Di, you're never short of words. And secondly, you can do minor adjustments such as spotting in the category. So yes. Yeah. No, that's fine. No. But I just wanted to make sure that... Sorry? Yeah, if you want to, just while we get the lights turned back on.
Look, I'm not a 90. I scored 79 because this frustrated me so much, and I'm glad you guys all gave it what it looked like from back here. But I would love to see this just a tiny bit down, a tiny bit darker on those pelicans because I couldn't see the detail in the whites. And the motion blur in the pelicans just frustrated me because this is such a beautiful image. So if this is going to APA, I wouldn't mind seeing this reprinted again, and I'd buy a print as well.
Okay. Good-o. Thank you. But, well done to the author. Gold award at 90. Next print, please. Okay, caption. Sunlight breaks through the rainforest canopy, highlighting the movement and texture of the water as it falls over the limestone escarpment on Christmas Island, Indian Ocean. You're right? Yep. Okay. Okie doke. This is a silver award at 82, and we have a challenge from Nathan, who's going to drive Di Mac because she wants to go to the toilet. It's all right.
Oh, this is beautiful. Look, what I'm seeing here is print quality is great. It's the perfect paper for this choice. There's a good range of grayscales, but what we're really seeing is this joyful, invisible dance of nature away from the human eye. We're watching something deep jungle, and we're seeing waterfalls on waterfalls on waterfalls. There's light cascading top right to bottom left. There's rocky outcrops top left to bottom right. There's literal droplets of water dancing and playing down this wall as a story and as a tranquil kind of place to rest for hours on a wall of any home. This is a beautiful shape. And speaking of shapes, just the last thing, the repetition of the V just goes and goes and goes all the way back. It gives such a depth and such an infinity about it that I really love this image, and I'd love to hear some other talk about it. I'd love to put this right up high silver distinction.
Okay. What I'll do is I'll start down towards the lower end of the range, which was Jacinta at 78. To make some comment?
Okay, so I was sitting on... Am I on? Yes. I was sitting on the fence, so I wasn't quite sure whether to go into the silver range. I'm not quite sure if I was at silver distinction, but I'm glad we're talking about it. I actually saw something quite eerie in this image, which may help me bring it up, is I'm seeing a lot of faces through each element going down, which is something like Jurassic Park, sort of like, which I did really like. But I think what I struggled with when I was going up was the highlights and the blacks in certain parts in losing quality, which maybe that is something that happens in this genre that maybe I need to forgive. But artistically wise, sitting back here, it's amazing. Going up close is only where I found that it was letting down a few technical things, but I'm absolutely willing to listen to go up.
John, you want to make a comment, please?
It's a very pleasing image. I think an improvement could be playing around with the shutter speed to try and get that shaft of water that's coming down, leading from the middle to the top right, to not be as harsh. I find that it's a little bit harsh to the rest of the image.
Nathan, write a reply.
All right. Yeah, look, well, we're all here. We're on 82. All of you just need to kind of get maybe 4 points each. If you're thinking you're enjoying this image as well, then let's just push it quite a few points. I love what you said, Jacinta, about the faces and the eerie nature. I mean, nature has a bit of duplicity about it. That's a word. Where it's beautiful, and there's a danger about it. There's a darkness about it as well, and I think that's beautiful. The highlights, the explosive little highlights, like fireworks on rocks. I think it's okay. It balances out the black, and it feels really good to me. John, I that. I think you might be right. We could dull that down a little bit. As it stands, it leads a very strong angular light that bounces just like light should all the way down to the bottom corner. So I'm okay with that. So I would love everyone to get it over the line and make this a silver distinction. Thank you.
Okay, Nathan, you hold your score, and everyone else is free to rescore the print. Silver distinction at 86. Gary, how could this possibly be improved?
Not much, really. It's beautiful. I would perhaps just tone back the contrast in the bottom right-hand side. It's just a little bit dominating in the overall image.
Thank you. That is it, according to me. Hang on for a moment. Next print. That's it. Yeah. Thank you. If everyone would like to take a